This is Buddy Landell, and you're about to listen to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, so stop working yourself into a shoot, you numb nuts. This show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't be a dumb ass and get offended by anything on this show. And if you do get offended, that's a you problem. Before I throw it to the fellas for another banger of an episode, shout out to all the BTT patrons, including the largest Patreon contributors of the show: Disrespectfully Classy, Mark E. Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, Good Old Justin, and Mike H. Now enjoy this Outlaw Mud Show podcast. Remember, if it don't snow, it don't go. And be blessed and be a blessing, pal.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Book in the Territory Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is a one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where today we are covering WCW Saturday Night on TBS from September the 4th, 1993. If you are listening on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the video, the little thumbs up thing. And lastly, also make a comment or two of what you liked or didn't like about the episode. I see all of you out there who are commenting, or most of you, Matt Wilsons of the world, or David Fords of the world. I'm spitting this off the top of my head, so I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head right now, but thank you for your comments. Even if I don't comment on it, I still appreciate it. There was a war of, you never comment on my comments, and I was like, I was just like, I appreciate the comment. I'm sorry I couldn't respond. I did not respond to every one of them, but if you posted a comment, even if you hate us, thank you. We appreciate you. All right, Doc. Harper's not here. You made the announcement last week. We're moving things around because we need to get him on the pay-per-view for the patrons. We got the Fall Brawl coming up, so we got to make sure he's there for that. So we're kind of scheduling at a weird time right now. But anyway, anybody out there who's listening to this, as I welcome you in, there is a new Patreon show that was made available in the last couple of weeks or so. Harper was on an additional Patreon show with me and Mean Mike Crockett covering the movie Weird Science. Doc, how are you? Let me welcome you in finally.
Well, I'm great as always. No Harper today. Uncle Eric is trying to, pop the territory here. We have a lot of premium live events coming up. We're trying to make sure that we're in position to have Harper there. If we have a show, we may be coming to an end.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that is not true at this point in time.
I guess by now, most people in the world by the time this comes out, will have seen that Skype is going away. And as you know, if you're a longtime listener, we've had our frustrations with that particular platform for quite some time. But Skype will no longer be in use. And I guess that just means we're going to walk away from all this.
Lies and speculation, but okay. Oh. Skype is going away, but walking away from it is not the plan.
Oh,
but
so we're not done.
We're not done. We do have a lot that's going on over the next few months as we get into like April. Like Fall Brawl is in late September of 93. Then not like barely a month later, you have Halloween Havoc 93. Then like right after that, I forget if it's a week or two after that, you have Clash 25. And then right after that, like 2 weeks later, you have Battle Bowl 93. So within, I guess.
Wait, we're still doing Battle Bowl? We haven't figured out that that's a shitty concept?
Oh, God, it's so bad. And, like I've seen all these, but I like to go in and like just every now and then I'll just click on it and just see what's happening. Man, it's a Patreon show. So look, you can never say we're never honest about stuff. Battle Bowl is not good. It's just not. And the highlight of Battle Bowl 93 is Mean Gene and Missy. And that's the tease I'll give for anybody who's never seen it.
Even think about that.
So anyway, it's just, but the point I was making is there's like, it's to Doc's words, 4 premium live events within essentially like a 50-day time span that we'll be covering over the next couple of months on Patreon. So we had to move some things around. We gotta do some things without Harper so that we can make sure we have him on the night that he is available. Let me say it like that. And the night that Doc's available.
He was on one last week though.
Yeah. Oh God, he was firing off on all cylinders.
He was on a heater.
Yeah, on August 28, 93 episode, he was on a heater. Doc and I, after the fact, like the next day, we'll be talking sometimes. He's like, Jesus Christ, he ate his Wheaties that last night, didn't he? And he ate his Wheaties before last week's episode. You never know what you're going to get, man. Oh, Doc, I know what I wanted to talk to you about. We did not talk about this last week, but we need to commit to it for next week. I've been getting a lot of feedback about Harper's 2 things: his pronunciation of milk as melk, and all the not patrons, all the listeners out there are reaching out saying, you mean to tell me after all this time he's been eating cereal dry? And just so y'all know, Doc and I both thought that exact same thing when he said he was lactose intolerant now. So we both had that thought. We just didn't bring it up because he was talking about something else. We do
you
plan
mean
on
chasing down discount cereals and just snacking on. Now I eat cereal dry. 99.9% of the times I eat cereal, I just eat it dry. But I realize I'm strange.
It depends for me. It's like if I'm just kind of like having a quick snack, I'll eat it dry, but that does not sound good. But I also like a nice bowl of Cheerios with some milk. So not milk.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going and getting Blueberry Crunch, which might as well be candy.
Well, yeah, from the salvage. So the point I wanted to make was
the salvage yard. Did you say the salvage yard?
The salvage store. Or yard, whatever you. But the point I'm trying to make is Doc and I both did catch him when he said that. We just he was on another rant about something else, so we didn't have a chance to revisit it. We
wait a minute.
Certainly plan at some point to circle back and say, hold on, you said milk messes with your stomach and you seem to have become lactose intolerant. How are you eating all of this cereal that you are consuming?
I bet he's going to try to tell us that he eats milk then and drinks milk then, and that's what hurts him. But he has to like sacrifice for the cause. That's my prediction anyway.
I think he's eating it with milk and just taking one for the team. What team that is, I don't know.
We don't know what team that is, but he's doing it.
Okay, and real quick, you talked about all those premium live events. Just for anybody out there, you want access to all those premium live events on our Patreon page and us reviewing, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Not only you get access to all of the upcoming ones, all of the WCW pay-per-views dating back to 1985 are available on there. All of the clashes, we've done 24 clashes now are available there. We've done episodes on Tales from the Territories. All the Dark Side, not all of, but a lot of the Dark Side of the Ring reviews are there as well. The JV Goon Squad shows, the World Class shows with Lance and myself, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. It's over 500 audio episodes at this point, even more video episodes as well. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Be like the cool kids and go get signed up and get you a membership. Okay, Doc, you were about to say something. Sorry to cut you off.
Well, you said something else that got me thinking. By the time this comes out, the first new Dark Side of the Ring season will have started. We probably gonna have some work to do there too.
Yeah, there's I don't want to talk about all of them because I've seen unless something just really catches my attention on one of the ones I'm not looking forward to. But Vader, they have the one on Vader. Obviously, we're in peak WCW Vader right now, so I think it would make sense for us to talk about some Vader. But we'll need to see what they are. I saw all the topics. Some of them seem like something I'd want to see. Well, I'm going to watch all of them, but some of them I'm like, yeah, we probably should talk about that, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Just depends, what it looks like. You know what I mean? What do you think?
I would agree. We're not going to, we cannot commit to anything until we see what happens. That's all.
Right. Because
I don't have the channel anymore. So I have to wink, wink, nod, nod, and get a copy.
Yeah, we get it to you. No problem.
Yeah. I need a bootleg copy.
That's what we did last year.
Yeah.
When we covered them. I think we did almost all of them last year, now that I think about it.
We'll probably do more than, we think we will.
Yeah, we always do.
We always give more than we should. That's the moral of this story.
We go above and beyond.
Always. We're team players.
That's right.
Speaking of going above and beyond, I wanted to get your opinion on a little something today. And that is the topic of and so we're going to be equal opportunity discussers here of the concept of the post pay-per-view / premium live event media scrum, where everybody gets together right after the pay-per-view, does a press conference, and goes in depth on the creative process. What's your... Do you watch these?
I was trying to remember the pay-per-view where Roman and Sammy wrestled in Toronto, I think. That was early last year, I believe. Or maybe it was late 2023. I remember watching a good bit of that one. Outside of that, I've only watched clips of them on YouTube, like the ones where they're embarrassingly bad.
Okay, so I have some questions. Because I only really hear and here's some free plugs for our friends. I only hear snippets of these on Corny or Dutch.
Okay.
So a couple of questions I have. The first is, who is this for? Like, who's the intended audience of this particular activity?
I guess the smart fans or the people who just want to know. I mean, because the smart fan goes beyond. The smart fan is not the smart fan of the 80s and 90s at this point.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know, man. At this point, I guess it's for anybody who just is curious enough.
Okay.
I mean, it ain't. I don't want to say it's not for me or you, because obviously we're talking about it right now. Like, yeah. It's caught our attention enough to where you wanted to ask about it, to be fair.
Right. But
it doesn't mean you like it.
So I'm done watching a multi-hour event. The last thing I want to do is watch a press conference about it. I don't watch press conferences after, like on Sunday nights in football season, they go to Sports Center immediately, and then they go to the locker rooms to hear from the coaches and quarterbacks, and I'm like, I just watched the game. What the fuck do I care? I saw it.
Years ago when Twitter was still relatively new, and you used to, I can't say this because like back in the day when I was a kid, I can remember watching like Saints games, and we'd be on WWL 870. You'd tune in and you could hear the players get interviewed after, or you'd be riding home from the game or whatever. I can remember like tuning in to stuff like that. But to me, that's like, it was totally different than what you were talking about. So like, but to the point you make, so I mean, from a sport perspective, I remember a long time ago when I used to do that, long time ago, or when Twitter first became a thing, they started then basically streaming them on there. But man, I don't, dude, I got so much.
Survived 4.5 hours watching your product. Leave me alone.
I got so many constraints on my time, and you have even more because your kids are younger. I tune in for the product, and once it's done, I pretty much like turn the TV off or turn it to something else and do something else if I'm still up.
Okay, so my question is this, because you know me, I'm not stupid, but I can be if I want to be.
By the way, we sound real old having this discussion. I'm going to just point that out to you.
Well, this is the next part of my discussion.
We've aged out of this thing as part of it, but keep going.
Well, that's fine. So I don't even know where to go to watch it. Like, where does this happen? So it like I'm done, and they hit the WWE symbol and you get the last shot and then it's off the air. I turn off the TV and go to bed.
I think it's still, well, for WWE, I believe it's still on Peacock. Yeah, it's still on Peacock because I've like left it on, left the TV on, and then like, okay, I'm in the kitchen and doing something or going fix something to drink after it's over, and it's still going. And like first it'll be like the like almost like the post show, and then I swear it flips to them doing the quote unquote scrum.
Okay, so
that's
what about
strictly?
What about AEW, where I'm watching a pay-per-view? I guess,
bro,
which, there's probably like what 35 people that did that.
I have no clue. So somebody out there will comment on YouTube and tell us where those are. But and the thing is about those, the only thing I've seen of those are when I see clips of them on YouTube, which the WWE ones are mostly bad. The AEW ones are, man. I don't want to talk bad about that company.
Just do it. Just kick him in the motherfucking shin.
I mean, the Punk one was entertaining, where he's eating the Mindy's muffins and calling out the EVPs, and EVPs are dumb enough to go to his locker room to confront him. But like that's kind of hilarious for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like it's a train wreck. So obviously you're going to look, but does it make it good? I mean, that's subjective.
Okay, so there's a couple of things that then spring to mind, because you're right about the Punk deal. But we are in a society that values the volume of content. We need to get back to being a little bit more concerned about the quality of that content as we're presenting it. Because I hear these clips and, clips, which are supposed to be the most noteworthy pieces of the puzzle. And this shit's terrible. And the main reason it's terrible is that this is the part I really want to ask you about. Like, okay, so I used to play music, and I get it. After you're done, you're on a high, you want to talk about it, you want to have some drinks, you're not ready for that moment to end, because for whatever your muse is, that's what a rush. So I get that. But like back in the day when you were in the mud shows, didn't y'all go to the bar and hang out or something, or do something like that? This is, the hotel bar that the boys talk about, or get in the car and talk about it on the way to the next town. They don't have that release anymore, so they just diarrhea it out in front of all of us.
I find it comical when you said the volume of content and the quality, and I think about the mud show stuff we put out. But okay, it's just shot at ourselves.
Well, I would have never let the JV Goon Squad just draft and off our name and allow them into the fold. But that's a different argument.
Okay. A lot of people enjoy the JV Goon Squad, and I am one of them. On that note, now you have a bone to pick with one of the members with Half Pint because he just curses you out whenever he gets on with us. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of it. Back in the day, you'd either go to the hotel bar or you'd hit the road and you're talking about it there and you're in the car. I don't know. I mean, what were you asking there?
Well, that's what I'm asking is that are we basically just getting the car ride presented in a more corporate environment? Because they get up there and they talk about, God, the Rock one after the Cena thing was so awful. And the Rock is
I watched that on YouTube. I don't even know what to make of him these days. And I love the Rock. Like I want
to like him, but I mean, it's like you come in at everybody else has been working all year. You show up when it's convenient. You talk about yourself in these terms. And look, dude, The Rock is a star. The Rock had charisma in the ring. There's and I get he may not want to go get hurt again, but he gets out there and talks like he wrote a Shakespearean play. I'm like, I feel like they saved this shit because you had some bad ideas on the way in, and Paul came over and helped you out a little bit. But I don't know.
Yeah, I for one don't enjoy these quote unquote scrums. Like I said, I remember Sammy's interview after his match with Roman. I forget the pay-per-view or premium live event or whatever it's called now. That one was good. Like I just remember Sammy he was, I don't know. To me, he was still kind of talking about it like it was real in that one, the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, I don't.
I mean, you just had Cena turn and you called for it, and then you're out there hobnobbing with everybody.
Well, didn't Cena, after he turned, walked out there, picked up the mic, dropped it, and walked off? I mean, that was good.
Yeah. I agree.
But I think the point you're trying to get at is the majority of it is not good. The majority of these quote unquote scrums is not like good. It's not for you. Here's the thing I was saying a minute ago. Man, I think there's a younger audience that loves that stuff, and I think it's for them. I think for us, it's another one of those things that we would be hypocritical to say we don't like thinking about the backstage politics and the backstage stories of things, because we talk about that stuff.
I love it. But the point of the matter is that if you just did it, you're not objective about what you just did. There is no time for reflection. There is no time for any of that sort of analysis. It's all just look at me, ain't I great?
So
and then because these guys aren't super skilled at that, The Rock has to tell you 15 times that he grew up in the business because he's not comfortable in having these kinds of conversations. So he goes to his crutch phrase of, I grew up in the business to try to justify the faux intelligent position that we're trying to take. Like this is some level of analysis.
I watched the Cornette clip on that. You literally sound just like Cornette right now.
Well, do you have some clouds you want me to go yell out later too?
Please stop parroting Cornette.
I'm not.
Anyway, but what I was getting at is like I think, I try to reflect on the fact that we talk about the behind the scenes stuff, but you make a good point. We talk about the behind the scenes stuff, but that stuff's had many years, and most instances 30 plus years to breathe. Before we even get to it. And many of the people that we talk about behind the scenes stuff, a lot of them are now deceased, which is sad. But, when we talk about those things, we're talking about shoot interviews that happen years and years, usually after. You do have a point there when you're like, well, it's immediately after. So like, it's like anything else now. Everything is instant gratification. Like there's no
instant access and
instant gratification. So back in the day, again, sounding like an old man because I am one now. We completely liked when we finally got the behind the scenes stories and access on things. I mean, think about the first time we heard the Kamala story and Jerry Lawler with the the moon that was painted on Kamala's stomach. Poor Kamala thought that the moon was a banana, and he thought Lawler was trying to be funny and kind of a little racist. Not my words. That's Lawler's words from when he was on Austin's podcast 12 years ago. So, like, we appreciate the behind the scenes stories, but we heard them so many years after the fact. Now, today's young fans, and even not even young fans, old fans, they get the behind the scenes stuff almost instantly. But the point I think that's important that you made was, because it's so instant, like, you don't even have time to reflect on it. Like, you've not let that story kind of like sit and then like go, wait, did I make a mistake here, or did I not make a, or should I have done this differently? Like, it's just instant, out of your mind, out of your heart. And I bet you The Rock or any of these guys, if you would ask them 10 years from now to reflect on something that happened in a pay-per-view that they said in one of these scrums, they're going to have a totally different take on it at that point.
Well, and here's an example for all you out there listening. Is like, there are times when we know we're having a better show than others. Now, I mean, our bar is so high that it's really, we're talking about rarefied air. But
we have no bar. What the hell are you talking about?
But we, like just last week, I said, was that good or was that just chaotic? The next day after I slept on it and thought about it, these guys are going straight from the ring in a shower to this scrum. There's just no way. Less is more.
They're like, here's the thing. Again, the clips I've seen, they're not all like completely horrible and bad. The AEW ones to me are cringe. It's just cringe. There's no level of self-awareness in those. It's just, I'm gonna say it's the greatest thing on the planet, and that's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's Tony Khan's version of the scrum. Like, he's gonna pat him, he's gonna Barry Horowitz himself. Like, again, the clips I see, because I'm not sitting down watching those live. There are people who do that. I don't know how they do it, but I wouldn't. I see some of the clips on YouTube. I haven't watched one of those AEW clips, and ever since we said we weren't talking about it no more, and here we are talking about it. You brought this up. I want to point that out. I haven't watched them. I don't care. It's not my thing. Like, for the people who like that kind of thing, that's the kind of thing those people like. Good for them. Enjoy it. I hope you love it. I hope it makes you happy. I hope it fulfills you. I hope it makes you the happiest person on the planet. Good for you. I'm not here to knock you for liking that thing, that product.
I am.
I actually think they have the best play-by-play commentator that is in the business right now, and Ian Riccaboni. But
we're not talking about play-by-play right now.
Product,
so don't just try to get in your
as a product in their little scrums that they do. It's just not for me.
Now, final question. What do you think the old guard, like a Rod Price, would think of the media scrum? Like, all right, Rod, we need you to go talk to the reporters about the event tonight.
I mean, people like him he's probably not even aware it's happening. So
I know, but what would he say? Like, if that would have been a thing back in the day, what would somebody like Rod say?
Oh no, I mean,
brother, I got to get to the next
brother. After you wrestle a match, go out there and crank yourself off in front of people. I mean,
right.
That's kind of like, I can see a old timer thinking of it like that. But I mean, like, again, this is something I totally am aware enough of the fact that we have aged out of whatever everything that is that they do, and we do sound like old men who are just, get off my lawn, because of we've aged out of whatever it is.
But that's also our audience group, so we're playing to them too. I'm
not playing to nothing. I'm just aware enough of the fact that in the words of Hardbody Harper, it ain't for me.
Okay.
You know,
You ain't gotta get hot. You ain't gotta get hot about it. That's all.
But Harper's been watching AEW lately.
I know.
He's
been
said
like
that.
sending us texts.
Yeah. He's posting in the Facebook group that he's watching it. And the reason is, I guess Ian's been on Dynamite, and he's like, I got to watch Ian Rock Yabani's on. Rock Yabani. Yes. That's what he told me. That is not an insult to Ian. That's Harper, once again, having trouble pronunciating.
With the English language.
Exactly.
Well, we're just here to say that media scrums are the tool of the devil. Nobody should watch them.
Wait. I got a question for you. The ones that you've seen of Tony Khan.
I don't know that I've seen any of them. So
okay, the ones you've heard, because I know you listen to Cornette religiously, and I'm sure he's breaking them down nonstop because I see the clips on his YouTube channel. Your thoughts on those AEW ones outside of the Mindy's Bakery and CM Punk?
There's just a lot of self-indulgence and over-analysis. But I'm the guy that back in, we talked with this.
A lot of cranking off to yourself, huh?
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of, like, back when I was in high school, we'd read these novels, and then we'd have to talk about them. And it's like, well, what is this, small detail on the side of the road as they're driving down the highway mean? And I'm like, maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe you just have some details and some shit because you need some details to round out the story. Maybe there is no symbolism. Maybe sometimes not every match has that. I don't know.
Doc and I had a discussion about Shakespeare the other day. We were forced to read that and write reports on it when we were in school. And I was like, maybe he was just high as giraffe ass when he wrote that stuff, and there's no symbolism other than the fact that he was strung out on mushrooms.
Wait, what?
But that's too simple of an explanation for an English professor who has got to make it serious, because I don't give a damn. Shakespeare is so far beyond anything I care about that I'm like, I'm not trying to dissect it. I made this stuff up when I was in school just to pass the classes, okay?
Bro, I'll never forget the day. I'm a motherfucking doctor, and I'll never forget the day that I found out about Cliff Notes for some of these books.
Amen.
I was Chat GPT before it was Chat GPT.
Right,
I was like, how can I reword this into my own words so that I can go watch some wrestling? Wish they had scrums. I could watch.
Back then, you would have watched the scrums. That's what I'm saying.
Shit, yeah, I would have. It would have been better than reading the fucking Canterbury Tales.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just made my point that I said to friends, like, we've aged out of this stuff.
I've aged out of everything, though.
Not everything. You haven't aged out of working the shoot job, and you haven't aged out of talking about 30-plus-year-old wrestling.
That's fair. Well, maybe we should work on that last part you talked about and talk about some 30-year-old wrestling. Mike, we are into the month of September in 1993. This year is over halfway done. It's getting away from us just like normal life. God dang, we're coming up on some serious premium. Pay-per-views, clashes. I'd like to say the promotion is flying high, but I have a feeling if it was a balloon right now, Sid would just stab it with some scissors.
On that note, we're talking September 4th, 1993, and like Doc just said, we are more than halfway through the year. This episode was taped August 9th of 1993. It's the second half of the taping from that day, according to the history of WWE.com. Doc, there's a relatively, this is a short episode in terms of the amount of content here. It's an hour.
Of everything.
It's an hour, but that's with the commercial. So we're looking at basically a 40-minute episode that we have this week. The show opens. We pretty much go straight to the ring for Dustin Rhodes versus Rick Rude. This is the second match of the three that these guys are having for the WCW US heavyweight title. if Rude wins this one, he wins the U.S. title. If Dustin wins it, we're going to have one more match, and we'll have the rubber match to decide who is going to win the title. They don't go very long, Doc, but I will go to you because it is a meat and potatoes match. Nothing too much happening until we get to the finish, to be frank. Crowd was kind of quiet, but anything from you?
I don't know why the crowd was quiet. If you'll go to, you're not sharing your screen, so nobody can see what we're talking about. That's just great.
Actually, the video version folks can see what we're seeing, but I will share my screen. That way you can see it. And that
Thanks
way
for bringing me into
to
the production. I appreciate that.
Well, we don't have a pre-show production meeting, so can you see now?
Yes, finally. Yeah. Can I get 251, please?
What are we looking for at 251?
As always, we're looking at some dick dancing
from Dustin. Yeah, he swivels.
He doesn't really seem like his heart's into it, like he was Gold Dust or something.
Well, he's not Rick Rude. I mean, and we've litigated the top dick dancers of the day on this show before.
I can't believe that's an actual sentence, but it is true. The only thing I don't like about this match coming in is we know that Rick Rude's not going to win this match. He's up 1-0. He's got Flair sitting over there. So it's a pretty good deal that he's not going to be winning at least today.
Yeah, there's multiple reasons. One is you got to get to a third match because you're probably not going to, finish it off in 2. That's why you do a 2 out of 3.
I mean, we had an Iron Man draw. They're not going to finish this in 2.
Right. And then, like you said, we got Rude and Flair in the wings. So that we've already started setting up from the Flair for the Goal segment where Rude assaulted Fifi.
Assaulted, down.
Dude, yeah, boy, that was pretty bad. But yeah,
it was pretty bad. Now, so last week in their match, Dustin worked the arm. Today, he's going to switch over and work on the leg. So a little bit different psychology there. That's fine.
Remember, these were taped on the same day. The match from last week and then the one we're watching this week.
Oh.
Yeah. So just think about that. It's probably why he's I say probably why he's working a different body part, but if you were there watching it live and saw this one right after you saw the first one, you'd be like, why didn't he just keep working on the arm? I mean, I'm saying it after the fact.
But if I was there and saw them wrestle twice in a row, I'd be like, on the second one.
No, you wouldn't.
No matter what happened.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would. Yes.
Young Doc would have been ecstatic about this. There's nobody complaining about this except old people that are almost 50 or over 50 watching it 30 years later. And you know that's true.
I'd have been like, can y'all bring out the Cole twins or something?
No.
No? 841.
Okay. That was almost a disaster. Rude picks up Dustin to go for the suplex. I don't know what they were looking to accomplish there, but Rude almost...
Well, I think it's because Rude's legs are hurt and he's struggling, but then he slithers over and smooches the camera.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do a block suplex like that. So I get that his legs hurt and it buckled underneath him, but I don't know.
Okay.
You'd almost like let him back down into like a gourd buster but I get it.
Well, and I thought that's where they were going, but then it didn't materialize. Just curious. Part of the charm here is that you were actually in the ring at one point and can hopefully give us some interesting analysis on what might be occurring and what might be going through the competitor's mind.
He did sell it good though, like his leg gave out when he went down. So maybe that's what he intended to do.
Well, and the other note I had on that is you would never see anybody long-term sell like that anymore. Talk about the old.
We can't do that because we got to hit our 16 sets of moves.
Tope suicida.
Right. After we do our, even my legs buckled and messed up.
I can't sell. I got to get to my next sequence of moves.
Yeah, I got to go to my next move set.
Ugh.
All right. The finish. Anything else, Doc, before I go to the finish?
No, and this is shorter, but I still enjoyed this match and thought it was good. Now take us on home, little buddy.
So there was a gourd buster by Dustin. Rude gets the knees up on a splash. Rude then goes for a clothesline on Dustin, but Dustin hooks him and catches him in a backslide, and Dustin wins by pin. So now we're tied 1-1. Good match. The crowd did react when Dustin won, but like they were kind of quiet during it. It was
because they'd already seen him wrestle once.
That's it. And that's how it ended. So anything else before we go to the next match?
Well, it's 1-1. I think we figured that was coming. But again, I have really enjoyed watching these two guys get after it in all their matches. And they do a really good job. And I like it. So just remember, Saturday night used to not always be 100% squash matches.
I feel like every time you bring this up, we need to tell the people why you're saying that.
Because later we're going to have to watch The Damn Gambler.
No, you're saying that because there are people who believe Saturday night during this era were nothing but squash matches when they weren't.
It's some nitro level shit.
I mean, you had Flair and Sting a couple weeks ago, right? I mean, we were like, they bring out, there's heavy hitters, man, on these
total heavy hitters, all the stars,
which is even crazier that they can't draw.
Just fucking dug a little hole in the ground and just hump it instead of trying to draw money.
Yeah. Next match is Too Cold Scorpio versus Yoshi Kwan. Doc, no matter how many times I say this, and I hate repeating it, but I still cannot believe they took this dude, Chris Champion, and turned him into a wrestler from the Far East. It is... I get like speechless just thinking about why. Why?
Okay, I'll see your why and raise you an additional why.
Okay.
Why would you have these two guys in a match when neither one of them is in a position where they can really lose? Yeah. And they're not in an angle together. So what are we doing?
I don't know. And you can tell by the finish.
No one can win this match.
Nobody.
But no one can lose it. So nothing we do is going to make 100% of sense.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. Guess we're just eating up innings right here. That's that old saying you have, right?
I guess.
No, I mean, that's what it is.
I feel like there's too much talent on the roster to just be doing that.
Here's the other part. It's like a 4-minute match. It's not even long.
Right.
Like, they don't really do anything. These are two guys who can go, and they don't do much because they don't have time to do anything.
I had a note that Yoshi Kwan is the Mike Mills of Johnny B. Bads.
That is terrible, but okay.
Just gender confusion. I mean, not gender, ethnic confusion.
Wow. You're an asshole. Well, we'll go to the finish since you want to be a dick right now. Scorpio slams Yoshi Kwan and then goes for that flip with the leg drop off the top that he always does.
Yeah.
But then Kwan puts the nerve hold on Scorpio, but Scorpio...
I thought you were going to say the nerve gas.
No, the nerve hold.
Great.
No, the nerve hold on Scorpio. But when he puts the nerve hold on Scorpio, Scorpio's like tied up in the ropes. And then Yoshi Kwan won't break the hold. So referee Pee Wee Anderson calls for a DQ, which gives Scorpio the win, which is not really a win, but it's a win, I guess. And this is what we were saying about, they kind of booked this quick 4-minute match and didn't really have it's a finish, but no one wins, no one loses. And I don't think it's going anywhere with these two. So yeah, that's that.
The nerve hold looked decent laying him back like that, but
It's fine. I don't hate it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But what else can you? I don't know. What are we doing? We're eating up innings. I shouldn't say what are we doing. We're eating up innings right here, and that's that.
We're giving the fans a quality match.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or something.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like they went out there and messed it up.
Maybe that's why they only drew 35 people and sold 35 tickets in Texas Stadium, is somebody called in a nerve gas attack.
No, I just think that they didn't advertise it.
No.
Like I said last week, Jesus could be giving out free miracles. If nobody knows he's there giving out free miracles, nobody's going to show up.
I had one last night. I was at a junior high track meet, and the concession stand line was at least 40 people deep.
Jesus.
Yeah, Sap's got to get their Sap juice. And I was walking by with Latrell's sister, and I told her, she goes, man, that line is long. I said, they better be selling winning lottery tickets for me to get in that line.
God, we really are old, because I say that all the time anytime I see a long line. The first thought I have in my mind is, whatever they're selling, I better really want it for me to stand in line and wait. Otherwise, I will find another option. That's less time taxing.
I can always just not do something.
Right.
That's always on the that's probably where I'd like to start anyway. So yeah.
All right. Well, we come out of Yoshi Kwan and Too Cold Scorpio, with Scorpio getting the win by DQ. We got a promo here from Harley Race. Let's listen to what Harley's got to say, and maybe Cactus will run in. Here it is.
Injuries, nothing new to Harley Race. It was right here on Saturday night where they took out Cactus Jack. But Cactus Jack now at Fall Brawl, the bounty match against Yoshi Kwan.
You know what? That disqualification meant absolutely nothing at all. I wanted Cactus Jack to see just how far this man will go when I tell him to go. Bang, bang, Cactus! Bang, bang!
You wanted him, here he is.
You've been holding on to my property for too long. After watching what I just saw, you may be right about one thing. Yoshi Kwan may just be the best martial artist in the world. Look into my eyes and find out that I don't care. I don't care. At Fall Brawl, I don't care if there's a cement wall standing in front of me. I'm going through. And I'll see you, and I'll see Big Van Vader on the other side. And after I get my bag, I'm going after something that belongs to him. His liver! And I'm going to hang it around my neck, because you see, Big Van Vader paying me to be just a game to you. But it's my life! You're going to find out that both of you are going to be forever entwined in my lifestyle. That's all I'm taking you. Oh! Big Bang! Big Bang! Come and get it!
Come and get it is what he's saying. And
I mean, I will credit Cactus for trying to make it seem like the bag matters, because he mentions it and he wants it back. So that's something.
Okay, I like the visual of wearing his liver around his neck.
Sure.
The audio is terrible. They're talking over each other, but the sound isn't happening. WCW.
Well, I think this is because this is the VCR copy and not the original.
BTT, everybody. This is the best we can do.
I mean, it's the only version that's available for this one.
No. We suck. Send all your complaints to Mike.
Sure.
He loves that.
Sure.
He's very apologetic about your inconvenience.
Start having people send complaints to Harper's email. Bro, what is this shit? Some asshole email me about blah 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 blah.
Boy, if you don't think he cares about Kendrick Lamar, just talk about complaints about this show.
Oh my God. You ought to hear him offline, off the record. He said what?
Why? Why are people talking about this shit?
All right, Doc. Any other thoughts on Harley? I didn't think it was horrible. The audio is not the greatest. I do agree because of the copy we have. I applaud Cactus in trying to put over his little leather bag that he wants back.
Sure, he's got to do something.
Right. He's got to make it seem like it matters because they've been dangling it on TV for weeks. So Cactus has to make it sound like, yeah, he really wants it back. So there's that.
Yeah, I get that.
All right.
I mean, this wasn't great, but I get it.
From there, we go to Chris Cruz in the Fall Brawl Control Center. Cruz goes over the card. The pay-per-view is still 2 weeks away on September the 19th. You can hear us review it on Patreon at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT.
Will we have a media scrum afterwards?
No. During the ad, though, we do hear a promo from Arn and Roma talking about taking on the Nasty Boys, where they're going to put the world tag titles on the line. And they also mentioned several of the other matches that have been signed, with Regal versus Steamboat being one of them, Flair and Rude, plus we got War Games. All of that available for us reviewing it on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Doc, did you have anything from the Fall Brawl Control Center segment?
I mean, Arn's doing the whole, until further notice, we're the champs, pal.
He looks like
I'm lugging around Roma here, and it's a heavy load, let me tell you.
He looks like he's 55 years old right there.
You think that guy on the right likes a media scrum?
Oh, God, no. You think we're grumpy old men? God.
You think he has like that old man just like kind of look up a little bit, not at the sky, but look up and just kind of give the...
Yes, because we do that nonstop. Nonstop. So imagine what he's doing nonstop. Sure.
Okay.
Remember, Roma's not that much younger than him.
No, not at all.
All right. That was that. Any other thoughts from the Control Center segment?
No.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it's good. It's not a bad card. Don't get me wrong.
I can't wait for this Ice Train Tex throwdown.
I mean, there's some stuff on it that's like, what are we doing? But
they can't all be winners, Mike.
You got to fill the card with something, as we always
That's
like
right.
to say.
Somebody's got to wrestle.
Yeah, somebody's got to wrestle. All right. We continue right along. We go to the next match, which is Ice Train versus Joe Cruz.
Hold on.
Okay.
Can you give me 34-34, please?
Oh, you want during the commercial? Oh, no. 34-34. What are we looking for? Do I need audio or is it just a crowd?
Uh-oh.
I'm waiting.
What do we got here?
Oh, that lady?
We got another bra top.
Oh, so remember when Harper was making fun of that old lady last week?
There she is.
And that must be her man.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Herbert.
God. Do you think we need to show this to Harper?
I don't know.
Hold on, bro. Dude, I got to snip that.
He was pretty
Give
disrespectful.
Me a second. Okay, so for the record, we, like I said, we recorded the Weird Science episode after we did the last Saturday night that he was on. And I asked Harper to explain this woman to Crockett. And Harper goes, Brah, Crockett, you ever seen the movie House? And Crockett goes,
no.
Crockett goes, no, he didn't say movie. He said, have you ever seen House? And Crockett goes, oh, the TV show? Yeah. He goes, brah, what the fuck? No, not the TV show, brah. The movie. And Crockett goes, no. And he gets outraged. He's outraged.
Jesus.
He's like, what the fuck? Just the typical Harper response when you haven't seen something that he's seen and he loses his mind. It never ends, man.
Scroll over back to the left, though. I want to. How old do we think these three ladies are, so we can decide if we want to talk about them?
Oh, I'm gonna hit pause. You talking about? Wait,
the three broads right there. They're college age.
I mean, they look like they're 18, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say they're 18.
Okay, so I don't care about any of them because they look kind of preppy and meh.
Mm-hmm.
But do we believe? Were the wrestlers zoned in on those three?
Every time you ask me that, I'm like, yes. If a wrestler saw these women, there were comments made in the back about the three sitting on the right when you walk out the entryway. One's got a blue top, blah blah blah, white jeans, light colored. Believe me, there was a very descriptive description given.
Okay.
That answer the question?
Yeah, I just
and some very un-Catholic and unholy like things were said.
I'm establishing a theme and a narrative.
Yes.
Okay.
You're on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because my note here was rat alert.
That's nice. Grow up.
Oh.
All right. After Doc took us down the unprofessional lane this week, we go to Ice Train versus Joe Cruz. Boy.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Another quick one, man. Another quick one. No surprise, right?
Well, Joe Cruz is a veteran of the sport, and he ate it quick.
Yes, he ate it quick. Real quick.
Which probably makes sense given Ice Train's capability level at this point to protect his aura.
Yeah, they're still building him. He's very young, man. He's very young in wrestling at this point. I mean, I think they're probably somewhat keeping him protected too, like on TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You don't want him in this long match where you can see his deficiencies.
You don't want to put him out there with Regal.
Yeah, that's just not going to work at this point. But he comes out with Thunderbolt. He gets another win. I mean, it was good stuff. I'm not complaining at all. I like Train. He's good.
Of course you do.
And then we go to a promo after the match.
Well, and this we tried to talk up old T-Bolt, and I thought he was pretty bad here.
Yeah. His run of good promos with Ice Train seemed to be coming to an end. Here it is.
Well, Patterson, you announced last week the opportunity WCW has given you and this big man, and now Fall Brawl coming up on pay-per-view. Your big guy will be a part of it.
Yes, I want to learn, I want to teach him everything that I know about wrestling. I want to pass the torch on to him. I want to show all of the wrestlers, I'm talking about all of the wrestlers. This man told me that all he wanted was the opportunity and a chance. WCW have given him that chance, and I'm going to teach him everything that I know about wrestling. So all I want him to do is listen. Look at that body. Look at the body. We're here for one thing. We're here for one thing. I want WCW to sign up anyone that they get. I'm going to teach him everything that I ever know about wrestling. I'm going to show him how to whoop. I get so full because it's very few individuals that I know of that want to learn and don't forget where it came from. Is that a problem?
Never forget where you come from. The hard streets of Atlanta, Georgia. But now, the Train is here in the WCW, and I'm on for all the folks. The poor folks, the rich folks, because the Train is here. Choo-choo!
The Train is here, and we'll be back with our big six-man main event.
Thunderbolt was bad. Ducky Bozard ain't going to be happy with us, but Thunderbolt was bad.
I don't care what anybody says. Now, is this the kind of bullshit that causes Black Church to go all day on Sundays? Like, you get T-Bolt up there and he's supposed to say a quick prayer so we can move on to the next agenda item, and 38 minutes later we're still trying to pray.
No, I'm not going to put that on a Thunderbolt.
Okay.
But that did used to get to me when I would go to church. I'm like,
now, did you go to a Black church? because they're different. It's all
a
God, but let's be clear, it's a different approach.
Well, when I was a little kid, our church was really, really mixed. I mean, it was in the inner city of New Orleans, so it's probably 60-70% African American, 30-35% everything else.
Everything else.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to.
Christ.
I don't know how to. I mean,
hey, everybody out there, we're just everybody else.
I could,
all right.
I could like say, 20% white and 5% Asian, and 5%.
No, I think you perfectly let us know how you feel with the everything else.
Okay.
Jesus.
But what I was gonna say was like, in my like early 20s, going to like church. It would be amazing how many times you could see a pastor repeat the same thing over and over. I'm like, you made that point like 30 minutes ago. Can we move? Like, that's what drove me up.
It's the same concept as the media scrum. People like to hear themselves talk.
I guess. But I'm like, man, we made that point already. Can we move on to the next one? Because we've been on point one since the church started.
Turn this water into some wine and get the hell on.
Church started at 8 a.m. Your sermon started at 9:30. We're at 10 a.m. now, and you're still on point one. So now I got 2 more hours to go. I would just start getting antsy.
Jesus changed out of his sandals into some boots and started putting the boots to you.
I mean, it's that old saying, like you said back in the day, with territory wrestling and church. It's like Saturday night you went to the wrestling and they milked you out of some money. Sunday morning you went to church and you were there for 4 to 5 hours. They milked you out of some money. You ain't got no choice but to go back to work on Monday because you're broke.
I've never been to church for a church event that was 4 or 5 hours.
Oh, I have.
Right, but I'm a everything else, and
bruh, these days church is an hour, pal. Get it all in. I'm gonna go to hell, man. But let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I was like, I gotta be home by noon. Because that's when NFL football starts. It's not just the Saints. It could be any. It's when I was a kid, it was like NFL football starts at noon. So,
Mama.
So my time with God needs to wrap up so I can get home for football.
For real.
And that sounds mean and evil.
And I'm telling you, in the Dallas area growing up, the pastors knew if you weren't done in time, like 11:30, to give people time to get home, people would just get up and start leaving, man. This cowboy shit used to mean something.
Right. So anyway. All right. Yeah, Bolt wasn't. I feel bad because I put him over and now he's back to being Bolt.
Well, fuck him.
Okay, that was not cool.
You know what I mean.
No, I don't. You see how he is, people? How he treats legends like Thunderbolt Patterson? Ducky's going to hate you for that one.
I don't have any respect for anybody just because somebody else called him a legend.
We go to the main event after Doc is being disrespectful right now to Thunderbolt. Ric Flair, Sting, and Davey Boy versus Harlem Heat and Sid Vicious. The faces hit the ring and the heels are running. Flair even comes out with a 2x4 because, of course, he's still pissed off at what's been happening to him. Doc, they started this with 18 minutes TV time left, 17 minutes. So we got a lot of time here. I don't like the fact that it's let me say it like this.
You're full up to here. I get it. I can tell.
I hate just throwing 6 guys. I hate the whole 6-man tag thing. I've said that for years. I've said it for years on this show. I hate the whole 6-man tag thing.
Unless it is really special, like the Freebirds and Von Erich.
There you go.
It is too much.
But see, that's different. That's not just throwing 6 guys together.
It's not. That's why I said unless it's something like that.
Right.
That's why I said it the way I did.
Bro, the Freebirds and Von Erichs had that country whipping match where they got the leather straps on their hand and it's like tornado tag rules where it's just a free-for-all. if you've never seen that shit, I think I posted.
Crimes.
I think I posted it on the Facebook page years ago. Dude, Kevin Von Erich does not know it to work. He does not know.
Flailing around.
Oh my
with
God.
that hair flopping and just getting tanned.
Bro, you see less violent fights in UFC than you would see in that match. Like, there are fights in UFC that aren't as violent as those 6 had in that country whipping match. It is literally the name of it. It is
Flair should
a brawl.
I was gonna say Flair should have come out tonight and been like Hacksaw Duggan, since he's got a 2x4 all of a sudden. Ho! Choo-choo.
Do you notice how short that 2x4 is?
Yeah.
It's kind of stubby, wouldn't you say? It's not like it's not a full one. It's only like 3 feet. It's not like the long one that Duggan would have. Oh man.
You gotta have a bigger pole. You gotta have a bigger piece of wood so that the people up top can see you.
Okay, I'm gonna let that one slide. A bigger piece of wood.
No, I mean, in the top of the arena, they can see the 2x4 and get excited.
Yeah, I hear you. I understand.
You want everybody to be able, just like in real life, you want everybody to be able to see your gimmick.
Okay. Flair takes the heat. The heels are in control after the baby faces come out and kind of, get the pop and everything. But do you have anything with this one? You have anything here, Doc? It's not a long match. I said they had 17 minutes left, but it's not as long as, because they cut it off with 3 minutes to go in the show. They wrap it up. So it wasn't as long as it seemed. It started around that time, but it doesn't go as, it's not really long. I don't know how else to describe it.
How come Flair doesn't get a DQ for bringing out the 2x4 at the beginning, or the 2x whatever?
Because the referee can make
chooses.
Can make a subjective call, I guess.
Davey, we said this last week. Davey just doesn't seem like a Southern Territory wrestler. I just look at him and I see WWF. I can't.
I think it's because that's the first place you saw him where he was most popular.
Maybe.
Pigeonhole him.
I'm not willing to say you're wrong. I'm just not willing to bite yet on that.
It kind of like, okay, Flair had success in WWF, but he's always going to be a WCW / Mid-Atlantic guy to you.
To me, but also to Vince, and that's why he wouldn't put him over like he should have.
Maybe.
Sting,
no matter where he went, even though he went to TNA, he didn't go to. It took him forever to get to WWE / F.
And then Seth Rollins buckle bombed him to death.
Yeah, I mean, he came back.
I felt bad for Sting that time.
But I mean, there's just certain guys that you pigeonhole them as something, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It's just you can't see him any other way. I mean, okay. Bret Hart, when he finally made it to WCW, you probably just still looked at him as a WWF guy.
I was like, why are they treating Bret Hart this way?
Dude, that was the weirdest thing to me. One of the weirdest things to me during that time period. I was like, man, you got Bret Hart. I don't know what to do with him. It was just crazy to think about.
Criminal to think about, I agree. What are the fans thinking? Because they just saw most of these guys in a tag match earlier in the night.
Well, look how they're sitting on their hands. The old saying. Yeah. Dude, they're not up. They're not excited. I mean, outside of the initial pop when the guys come out, they're just kind of sitting there waiting for something to happen. I tell you what, this once again will show you Harlem Heat is in the main event against Flair, Davey, and Sting.
Okay.
They are getting a lot of respect. And here's the thing, when you watch them work with Flair here, dude, there's no level of, they don't look at any point like, man, we don't belong here.
Is this going to ever stop, or are
Nope.
you just going to be?
It's not going to stop.
the-
Let me tell you something that the great thing about doing this show the way we've done it. We have seen some guys from nearly their start, because you can't say Harlem Heat didn't start here, but they're very young. Steve Austin, he didn't start here, but he was very young. Brian Pillman, he didn't start here, but he was very, very young when he got here. And the thing that gets me about the four guys that I just named, with Austin, Harlem Heat, and Pillman, is you watch them from the start. There's already something there. Scott Steiner's another one. From the beginning, there was never a time where you're like, I don't know this guy. I'm not seeing it. Know what I'm saying? Now disagree with that and be contrarian.
I don't. I like Harlem Heat. I'm just have a feeling you're going to go overboard here.
Oh yeah, they're getting a Rolex again. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
Jesus Christ.
Sure.
This kind of crap's going to get us shut down by Doge.
Okay. No need to get political here. No need to get political. All right.
Okay. Well, this wasn't as good as last week. I wasn't as interested because I had just seen it.
Now, they did come alive when Sting was making the hot tag, which I guess I'll go to the finish now on that note. So Stevie Ray missed an elbow drop, which leads Flair to making the hot tag to Bulldog. Things start breaking down. Rude comes out and attacks Flair, who's on the outside. He's rolled outside the ring, which goes along with their storyline, right? Because, you know, they're embroiled in a feud. Dustin comes out to take a shot at Rude. It's chaos because Rude and Dustin are now in the ring. Pee Wee Anderson, he just starts calling for the bell for what I think is a double DQ, but they never really say. Not that it matters, but this thing's thrown out. We got no resolution. Not really surprised. I think the finish was more important than the actual match because you end up with Rude and Flair going at it in the mix. So to me, that mattered more than anything. But what were your thoughts?
I think you nailed it. Lots of moving parts here.
Yeah. From there, we go to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Jesse and Tony wrap up and remind us that next week is the third and final match with Rude and Dustin for the U.S. title. And that was this. That was that. So that's how the show wraps up. It wasn't a bad episode, but we got to rate it and hand out the Toot Toot Award. Before we do it, remember the only way to listen to our review of Fall Brawl is by going to Patreon at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. You'll get that review plus all of our clashes, all of our other WCW pay-per-views, the Goon Squad shows, the World Class shows with Lance and myself, only available on Patreon at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. All right, Doc, time to rate it. Hand out the Toot Toot. What are you going to rate it?
This is a difficult one to assess because it happened fast and it seemed like a baby brother to last week's episode on some level, but not as good. So for all those reasons and more, I'm out. Oh, wait, that was Shark Tank.
All right.
Give me a B-.
B-. Okay. Yeah, I kind of think I'm right there with you. There was really nothing that happened. I mean, you had the extension of Rude and Rhodes going for their second match, and I guess that happened. So, but there's nothing happened. There was no like big time promo. So yeah, I'll go B- as well. Which then leads us to the Toot Toot or the Rolex Award. Who gets that from you?
And that's a good question.
Nothing was bad. Like there was nothing that was horrendous. But there also was nothing where it was like, man, that was so good. That's the tough part.
I'm going to give mine to Dustin for getting even in the best of 3 match.
All right, I'm going to give mine to Harlem Heat for showing they can still go with Flair, Sting, and Davey Boy. You thought this was a joke, pal?
No, unfortunately, I didn't.
We got some diversity on this bitch, man.
That's not a word we use anymore.
Oh, it's a word I use, pal.
Oh, really?
We're just ruffling feathers on all sides right now.
I like Harlem Heat so much
that you agree with me.
You're going to make me hate them because of you.
That'll never happen.
The hatred I have for you.
That'll never happen.
The unadulterated, just pure hatred I feel for your stupidity.
Okay. All right.
It threatens to end the show.
No, it doesn't.
And I can only imagine what Harper's going to say when I text him later and tell him that this is what's occurred. What the fuck? That's what he's going to say.
Okay. All right. Well, that about wraps up the show. Harlem Heat gets the Rolex and the Toot Toot again. We'll see if their streak can continue. What are we at? 3 weeks in a row now for me? Let's see where it goes next week. You know, the true test of that will be if they're not on an episode and I give it to them. So just stay tuned, everybody.
You're dangerously close to getting the Bill Watts suspension.
Okay. I would have loved to have seen them come in with Watts when Watts was there to see like how he would have treated them.
Depends on if he thought he could make money.
That's
with them.
Right. You nailed it. Did he see green or not? If he saw green, shot him to the moon. So,
that doesn't mean he's not a racist.
Right.
It means he's a capitalist racist.
Just means he sees green.
He puts green before his racism.
He compartmentalizes it. Jesus Christ. Oh, boy. All right. Well, on that note, that's going to about wrap up this week's show. Thank you for listening. As usual, Harper is supposed to be back next week. At least that's the plan for anybody out there who got angry that he wasn't here. We apologize for your annoyance, but it happens, and we're moving things around, so he'll be on the pay-per-view that's coming up with Fall Brawl in a couple weeks. But for myself and Doc, you got anything else?
I think I'm all blown up.
Doesn't take much for that. Well, why don't you hit the tagline? Let's roll.
Well, book it, bitch.
This is AI Eric Bischoff. No, I am not the real Bischoff. So don't work yourself into a shoot like these useful idiots in the wrestling media field. With that said, congratulations on making it to the end of this week's show. Don't forget to send your comments about what the guys discussed tonight to Luke Hawks on Facebook and on Twitter or X or whatever the piss they call it now. The rumor is Luke likes answering BTT fan mail. Also do the guys a solid by liking the show's Facebook, X, and Instagram pages. And don't forget to like and retweet or repost the show on all social media platforms. Lastly, become a BTT patron member where you get tons of extra shows. You can join at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Until next week, piss off dipshits. How the piss do you people listen to these useful idiots? These dipshits think they're fucking funny, but they ain't fucking funny. And somebody needs to tell them that. This goddamn show needs more D-Man and less of dipshit, Doc, hard-boiled Harper, and this vanilla ice Snoop Dogg, mumble, mouth, Mills. You have to be an imbecile to find these three fuckers entertaining. Fucking clown show.